Hi, Stuart Bruce here, and I am the Spare Time Property Investor. In these podcasts, I'm going to share tips, tricks and lessons that I've learned and will hopefully help you, especially if you're still working the 9 to 5. Hi and welcome to another episode of the Spare Time Property Investor podcast. And today I'm not joined by anyone, it's just me, and it's just a really short podcast, kind of prompted by some conversations I've been having with people recently. Before we get into it though, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. It's always great to see the downloads going up and up over time. But if you get some value from this, please like it, please share, please subscribe as well, because it helps keep the podcast going and helps other people find it. So I've had a few conversations recently and they go something like this. They or their friends have bought a property, maybe recently, and they've seen that the house price has gone up quite a lot. That has got them thinking, do they sell up and get a bigger house, or do they keep hold of that house and buy another one, maybe with a new partner, that sort of thing, so they can have an investment property and move into another property which they'll probably like more, a nicer area, that sort of thing. And what a great idea. You can keep a house, you can get another house, you've got some income coming in from the rent, and that house will continue to go up in value as you live in your other home. So what a brilliant thing to be able to do. All because house prices have been going a bit crazy and people are just seeing a bit of an opportunity there. But what do you need to do if this is something you're thinking of? So first, if you're going to let out a house that you have on a normal residential mortgage, you need to get in touch with the lender, because the residential mortgage is not a buy-to-let mortgage. So you need to speak to the lender and get something that's called consent to let. This will allow you to then get tenants in and use that house as a buy-to-let while you go off and get your new house. I'd also say if this is your first investment property and you're doing it just because you see a bit of an opportunity there, don't be tempted to do everything yourself, because there's lots of different pieces of legislation that you need to follow through with to make sure that if in time that person you rent your property out to needs to be evicted, you can legally do that. Do you really want to learn all of the ins and outs of this and make it a career for yourself or a big part of your life? If not, get a letting agent, somebody who's recommended to you if possible, because not all letting agents are made equal. So you've got somebody there who's registered with a body like Arla, who can make sure that everything is done correctly. You'll also need to speak to your insurance company to make sure they're aware of the change of use. And if, for instance, you're tempted to turn that property into an HMO, you need to really dig into the detail of that, because there's different legislation, there's different types of things you need to think about if you're changing a property that you've been living in for a little while into an HMO. It's not a simple process. So go and check your local council. They'll have all of the requirements listed on their website. But go and speak to the council if that's what you're interested in, because you might be surprised that some people go and do this, and then once the council come round to inspect, they're not able to use a room or two in the property because they're too small, for instance, or they haven't got a communal area, or whatever else is required to run an HMO. One of the other benefits of renting out a house you used to live in is also you might be able to get private residency relief when you come to sell it. So this is in reference to capital gains tax. So if you buy an investment property, do some work to it potentially, or hold on to it for a little while and then sell it, you will pay capital gains tax. But your own home, for instance, you don't pay capital gains tax when you sell it because it's your own home. So imagine if you move out of this house, rent it out for a bit, and then decide it's not really for you and sell it in a year's time. You might not have to pay capital gains tax, but you'd have to make sure you seek the advice of a good accountant who has a background in property. Because this is a specialist area, and not all accountants. Because this is a specialist area, and hopefully all accountants because this is a bit of a specialist area, and hopefully all accountants would know how to deal with this, but you don't know. It's always worth speaking to an accountant who has a particular interest in property to make sure you're not missing out on anything. So there are a few things to think about. If you happen to live in a property that's gone up in value and you're thinking to yourself, oh, I might hold on to that and buy another property. And if that is you, fantastic. I wish you the best of luck. And that also might mean you're quite new to property. And if that is you, well, go back and listen to some more of the episodes, because it might be quite helpful for you. Anyway, I hope that short episode was helpful. And if it was, please share it, please like it, please subscribe. But that's it from me for this week. Best of luck, and I'll see you again next time. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have, please leave me a 5-star review to help other people find it, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.